Okay, so most of you probably know that a woman was, I still haven't heard that she was raped, but she was murdered in Phuket at a small waterfall in sort of a remote place. It wasn't, it's only a couple hundred meters, I think, up into the forest during the middle of the day. And so in previous videos I have addressed, like, what are we safe in Thailand? Like, are you safe to come to Thailand? And I really just spoke to which areas of the country tend to be safe and which ones are not, and which ones are safe during political upheaval and which ones are not. So for those videos, basically I just said that all the action happens in Bangkok and in the deep south. There's really, living in Suratani or living in Chiang Mai or Ubon or Udon or even Nakhon Si Thammarat or Krabi or Trang or Phuket or anywhere like that. I have said in the past that they are safe. You know, those are safe places to be during any political uprising. We had bombing one time that just was very inefficient, almost like complete amateurs did it. I mean, it's bombing still, and people died, but don't get me wrong. But it very, very, very rarely happens. So would you base your whole vacation on that? You couldn't, right? Would you want to live in those cities? We did. You know, we lived in Krabi. There was something out at Ao Nang Beach. Some fire that I think was originally a bomb that didn't go off correctly. Suratani had a bomb. Anyway, so this is not about that. This is about, is Thailand safe for single women travelers? So I've lived in the country for almost 17 years now. Wow. 16, 17 years. And I have stayed in high density, high population tourist areas, and areas where, you know, million visitors a year or so, even way more than that in Phuket. I have also stayed in Thai towns. I've stayed in larger Thai towns, small Thai towns. I can tell you that from experience that Thai women do not feel safe to go in the forest. First of all, Thai men don't feel safe to go in the forest by themselves. A lot of times. You will very rarely see it happen. Even to go to a waterfall or something like that, a Thai man. I don't know if it's always because he's afraid, but a portion of it is. A greater portion is that they just don't care to go to natural things. They have different concerns. They're not concerned with exploring wildlife and nature and things like that in general. It's a blanket statement, but in general, that's true. Now, I've hiked a lot in Krabi. Krabi is known as something of a tourist destination. Krabi town is more just locals. We have tourists roll through, backpackers that come through on the way to Koh Phi Phi or something like that, or to Phuket or wherever, up to Koh Samui. But I stayed there for 13 years. Hiked in the forest at night very, very, very often. Hiked in the forest during the day and ran up this particular mountain, about 4 kilometers up into the mountain, all the time in daylight, and even in nighttime we hiked up there. How many times did I see single women hiking up that trail in the daytime? And I have been up there, let's say, excuse me, it's a wild guess, but it's probably pretty close. 400 to 500 times I've been up the trail during the daytime. And that was my exercise trail. So, how many times did I see a single Thai woman climb that trail? let's say under 20 times. And I've seen tens of thousands of people on that trail. There's a lot of people some days. Some days 200 people on the trail. I might see 100 of them or more. Oftentimes when I come up on a single Thai female in the forest, they are nervous. Obviously nervous, asking me who is up ahead, like is there anybody up ahead? Are they Thai? Are they foreigners, or what are they? Thai women do not like to go alone in the forest. They've heard too many stories. They know it's not safe. They won't do it really. It happens occasionally. Some girls are explorers and refuse to give in to the fear about it and just do it anyway. Some don't. I think most don't. Now I'm talking about a national park. That's a national park. This isn't just some hike off the highway up into the forest. This is a national park, and still, very few Thai females want to do it. Very few Thai guys want to do it. So they don't do it. How many times have I seen a foreigner, a girl, by herself climbing that mountain? It's more times. I would say it's probably twice as much, but it's also not that often. Like, I think tourists are generally afraid to go into the forest by themselves as women, because they've also, you hear stories. It doesn't take much to pull a girl off a trail, take her down the hill and rape her and kill her or whatever you're going to do. It just wouldn't take that much. So it's an opportune situation that somebody could probably easily take advantage of. And why it doesn't happen more here in the country, I'm not sure, except that it does and we don't really hear about it. So is it okay for single tourists traveling alone to come by themselves to the forest? In general, at national parks, it's fine. In general. I don't know whether the park in Phuket, whether that was part of a national park or not. I kind of think not. But it was, like a state park, a provincial park. It was not far off the road. It was not far from civilization, It was just a couple hundred meters up into the forest. So, and that's what happened. There are plenty of migrant workers from other countries, Laos, Burma, maybe even Laos and Burma for sure, working. Oh, there goes my light, and it just turned me orange. Okay, anyway. So there are plenty of migrant camps for agricultural workers, people that build things, mostly agricultural workers up in the forest, right? Because they're chopping down rubber trees, they're tapping rubber trees, Thais mostly. They are harvesting whatever. There's just lots of places where people off the record are living in the forest, just in the edge of the forest usually, and that can see tourists come and go, and that could plan something if they wanted to. It's not a safe place. It's not 100% safe place. Would I recommend that my daughter goes into the forest by herself? No, never. Not at this age. She's only a teen, right? She's young. She's not even a teen. Would I recommend that my wife does it? My wife has gone with other Thai women. So they go as a group, 3 people usually minimum. I've seen lots of 2 people go though as well. I guess they feel safer like that. Would it be that difficult to pull 2 Thai girls off the trail and down the hill? It wouldn't be hard at all. I don't know why it doesn't happen much, but I'm so glad it doesn't. Have I ever seen anything happen on a trail that I thought was dangerous to somebody. You know, did I ever see violence on the trail from Thais to foreigners or Thais to Thais because it was a remote place or something like that? I never did. So that's just my experience. Like 500 times up that trail, 1,000 times in the forest at night, you know, but of course Thai girls aren't walking around the forest at night ever. Is it safe? So that's the forest situation. You can do it. It's probably okay. Would I allow my wife to go by herself? No. Would I allow my daughter? No. Would I allow my son if he was a teenager? Yes. From about 14 years and older, I would allow. So, you know, a teen boy would be at much less risk. Still some risk. There are groups of Thai boys that will rape you too. I mean, it happens in Bangkok all the time. In schools, it happens. Now, in general, is it safe for a Thai girl to travel alone to, say, a wilderness resort or to any hotel, you know, in town, out of town? Generally, it seems like it's quite safe, unless the girl's getting drunk and needs to rely on somebody to get her home. It's not safe. If she's getting drunk with somebody she just met, it's probably not safe. I mean, it isn't safe. It just isn't safe. Thai males have a different idea about how sex happens. In Thailand, it's very easy. You can meet somebody at the gas station. They're pumping gas for you, and she's telling you like when she has off. I mean, that's what happens here. It's just it's. And then with foreigners too. So with a foreign guy and a Thai girl, those situations happen often enough, and they're easy enough, right? With a Thai guy and a foreign woman, it doesn't happen that much. So it's really seen as a foreign woman is really seen as a prize, you know, to Thai guys. So if they actually have you in a bar and they're drinking, you know, you're drinking and you're getting drunk, they are 100%. If you were a Thai girl getting drunk with a Thai guy, you're 100% going to bed with that guy if he wants to go to bed with you. It's just the way. You don't go drinking with a Thai guy unless you want to go to bed with him. And that's a generalization again, but I think everybody in Thai society knows that. It's probably half the reason that other people don't get involved in scenes in which the guy is beating the girl and stuff like that. They just figure it's none of their business. Let them do what they want. Is it safe for a single woman to go to a bar, meet a guy, and go home with him? Almost for sure, no. Do people do it? All the time. How many of those people get raped or taken advantage of in some way, robbed or whatever? I don't know. I have no idea. I hear that it happens. I don't know how much. You know, I don't have any, I don't know the total, and I don't know the total number of, or anything close to the number of incidents. So I just don't know, but it happens for sure. Should you do it? No. That's my idea. You should not. Are you safe in tourist areas like Pattaya, Patong Beach, Phuket, Koh Samui, Koh Phangan, Koh Phi Phi, Koh Tao? Are you safe in these areas at night in remote areas like the beach? No, absolutely not. Don't ever, not with one friend, not by yourself, probably not with 3 girls. You're just not safe. Probably with any group of girls, I would say you're not safe. At night, the beach, I don't know why, it's a mix of, so you have this tourist area, right? Foreigners are dressed in clothes that Thais don't wear. Bikini tops, Thais never see. Here in my town, I've never seen a bikini top. I don't expect to, ever. You won't see it. It just doesn't happen. Thais are not wearing them. In tourist areas, even some Thai, bar girls and stuff will wear a bikini top or something like that. But the guys that are sitting there running tuk-tuks, running taxis, running motorbike taxis, that have very little money, some of them are in the mob. Probably a good portion of them have been to jail. A good portion of them are not decent people. And then you have this going on, and they're sitting there getting horny and thinking about what they'll do to it. If they ever caught like a foreigner, like at the beach by herself drunk or something, they would do it as a crime of opportunity and say they couldn't help themselves. They were aroused. That's what, I was aroused, I couldn't help myself. It's everybody says it after they rape. Here. So are beaches safe? Not at all. Not at night. Not at night, whether you're drunk or not. Are beaches, say you have a foreign guy and you're a foreign girl and you go to the beach at night and you weren't even drinking, but it's 11:30 at night, you're in Krabi, Ao Nang Beach, and you think, you're fine. Not necessarily. There was a pack of Thai guys, teens to young 20s on motorbikes that assaulted, I think they were from England. Guy got beat up, beat to hell. Girl got grabbed and stuff, very nearly raped. And I'm sure it's not an isolated incident. These things happen. Not even just in the case of wanting to rape or something like that, but wanting to steal. A woman had her thumb hacked off by a knife as she was trying to hold on to her purse in Krabi on what's usually a busy street, right up from the police station. But yeah, she came out of a bar, somebody tried to grab her purse, she wouldn't give it, held on to it, somebody cut off her thumb. That's Krabi, that's supposed to be a safe place. Happens all the time. How can a tourist woman be safer in Thailand and still enjoy herself? If you're by yourself, I would say that you can't drink late at night. You can't drink after like 10 o'clock. Some arbitrary number, I don't know. Don't drink after 9, 10 o'clock. Don't let anyone, if you're not planning on having sex with anybody, don't get comfortable with Thai guys. Don't, or foreigners, whatever. There's plenty of foreigners that'll do the same. Don't give someone a way to get back to your apartment. Don't put yourself in a position where you're gonna have to rely on somebody like a tuk-tuk driver to get you home. You just figure, I'll get drunk off my ass here, and then I'll go get a tuk-tuk home. I'll give him this piece of paper that has my address on it. I'd say there's a 10% chance you're getting raped. It's just in Phuket. I was thinking about Phuket. Pattaya probably same. It is a dangerous place for women. I hope you are careful. The danger really is at nighttime. The danger is when you're drunk. The danger is when other guys are drunk. The danger is when you're in a remote place, whether it's beach, forest, walking down an empty street, whatever it is. The dangers are there. Please take care of yourself. There are things you can do just to be less of a target, right? People say, I can wear what I want. It's not my fault that I was raped because I was wearing a bikini in a bar in Bangkok, and I got into a cab. I was drunk. Like, it's not my fault. It's not because of me that happened. It's kind of because of you. It's because you didn't. And I hate to hear this from people. I can dress any way I want. It's not my fault. Sort of, but it's your fault. If you know that to dress like that can cause people to rape you, and then you get raped. It's like, you have to be smarter than that. Is it really that important to show half your tits in Bangkok? You know, why? Is it really that important not to wear a bra and show your nipples? Thais never see that. It probably does drive them crazy. It's sort of like the Muslims tell everybody wear a thing on your head. The women have to wear a thing on their head so nobody can see their hair because it's too sexy. Come on. Anyway, I'm going a little bit off base. Is it safe for a single woman to come to Thailand and enjoy herself? It can be. Act smart. Act in a way that doesn't put you in a position as a target. And be very careful who you choose to let into your life, to take you to dinner, to take you for drinks, to take you for a walk on the beach. Be careful about all that. I mean, very, very careful. All right, I hope that helps somebody. All right, cheers.